Okay, guys, good morning. I'm still not seeing the live chat option. So if you have it on your screen, try and send me a message. Someone can send me a message and see if it pops up on my laptop here. But so far on my side, I'm not seeing anything. So we'll just continue. Maybe in the next session, it might come up. So good morning once again. This course is 4105. It's Community Pharmacy Management. Um, as you all would know, and as all you would all be familiar with, a community pharmacy is a small business. Generally, it's a small business. There are some medium-sized enterprises with those with several branches, and then there are some large enterprises, which are the huge big box type stores with several branches all over the country. So we're looking at community pharmacy on a more smaller scale. So we're looking at the lecture chapter 6, managing small business startups. Really sorry that we can't get the chat up and running. So I guess you guys got away today. So no interaction today except hearing and looking at me. All right. So the learning objectives in this lecture would be looking at the importance of entrepreneurship to the economy, defining the personality characteristics of a typical entrepreneur, explain how social entrepreneurship is a vital part of today's small business environment, and outlining the planning necessary to launch an entrepreneurial startup. We're also going to look at the 5 stages of growth for an entrepreneurial company and how management functions apply to a growing entrepreneurial company. So first off, we're on to slide number 4 already. Entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is the process of initiating a business venture. In some circles, entrepreneurship is also defined as engaging in a business activity in a field that no one else is doing. In some places, they refer to entrepreneurship as doing something that no one else is doing. But for the purposes of this course, and generally speaking, we'll go with the definition of an entrepreneur as someone who is in the process of initiating a business venture, generally speaking, um, starting off a business venture, and it may not be small; it could actually be a large business venture, um, but it's something that they are starting off on their own or with the assistance of other partners and other shareholders. Entrepreneurship involves organizing necessary resources, and we spoke about that yesterday in class. That management is about the effective and efficient use of resources to attain goals. So entrepreneurship organizes resources and assumes associated risks and rewards. And I want you all to understand from the start that there is a phrase and there's a term. I wish there was my chat. The greater the risk, the greater the reward. And that holds true in business. So, as an entrepreneur, when you're about to enter into uh, business activity and economic activity, you must understand that there are inherent risks involved. And consequently, by its very nature, there will be inherent rewards. And the objective is to get positive rewards coming out of your entrepreneurial activity. However, because of the very risks that are associated with your entrepreneurial activity or your entrepreneurial endeavor, it may not produce positive results. And that's a reality that you must accept as you start off your entrepreneurial activity, as you plan for your entrepreneurial activity. You want it to be profitable, you want it to make a difference, and you will do everything in your power to get it done. And we hope that it does happen. But not all the times it's going to be successful. And that's the inherent risks involved in engaging in entrepreneurial activity. There are risks and there are rewards. I would quote uh, Richard Branson, who is the founder of the Virgin Group, Virgin Galactic, Virgin Atlantic. Um, he's a billionaire guy from the UK, and he has always said that with respect to risk taking, do first and then apologize later. Meaning, go out there and make a real attempt at something based on your analysis, um, without being too concerned or too worried about um, the negative. But if the negative does occur, be prepared to apologize for it. In other words, whilst brainstorming your idea, don't let potential negatives limit you or prevent you from going ahead with your idea. Of course, without the idea must not be one that is destructive and bad for the world and bad for your community. It must be one that is based on the platform of goodness, the platform of service. Um, it may not be always within the limits of what ought to be done. I'm trying to say this very carefully, um, but it should not being able to fulfill all obligations should not be the reason why you don't try to engage in entrepreneurial activity. I'm trying to say this so that you don't go away with the wrong impression. I'm not saying that you should engage in a business activity that doesn't have approvals. I'm saying that there may be some things that ought to be there, but because of financial or otherwise, it's not there. It does not mean that you should not engage in the entrepreneurial activity. There are inherent risks involved, and there are rewards as well. And don't the take home message here is don't allow limitations to keep you back from trying to engage in your entrepreneurial activity. So we're on to slide 5, and we're looking at the 5 types of small business owners. And you see them there, and some of you who are already involved in business, some of you who may have tried your hand at entrepreneurial activity, whether be it you open up a repair shop, a consultancy, uh, online help page, a Facebook help page, whatever entrepreneurial activity. Some people use Facebook to have like an online store. Whatever it is, you can find yourself in one of these here. From idealists, optimizers, hard workers, jugglers, sustainers. And we look at each of them, and you see that an idealist is rewarded by the chance to work on something new and creative. Now, isn't that nice? Who doesn't want, well, I mean, a lot of people would love to work on things that are new and things that are creative, especially those of us who have ideas, who have nice, clear visions. The reality is that some of us are able to envision things better than others. So that would be an idealist. Your optimizers, they get personal satisfaction from being a business owner. So they just simply like the fact that they own a business that personally satisfies them. Your hard workers, they thrive on the challenge of building a larger, more profitable business. Your hard workers, and we all have seen or met hard workers in business. These hard workers like to expand and they like to go into new market spaces. These are your hard workers, and they represent 20% of all small business owners. The jugglers, these are high energy people who enjoy handling every detail of business. They may they may they may even they may even um, as the word says, juggle being a business owner and perhaps having a part-time job or a full-time job. But the mere fact of being and operating a business excites them, and they have a high amount of energy to share between their own business and perhaps the job that they're working, and they are very detail oriented. And finally, we have the sustainers, and I certainly can see this. I am one of the part of this 15%. The chance to balance work and personal life, and that actually is something that some of you, after several years in the corporate world or several years in the working world, and changes happen, you start a family, or life events happen. You now transition, or you have a shift in thinking, you have a shift in desires to now have a better balance between work and personal life. Now, understand that that balance between work and personal life is something that should be there even in your corporate job, even in your uh, small small business job. You're being hired to work for a certain amount of hours. You're being hired to produce a certain amount of results. And in summer class, I made sure to remind them that you must always be prepared to give and produce far more than what you are paid for, not to be used, but to show that you are a dedicated, you are a committed person, you are innovative, you are able to produce results, you are able to show your commitment, all within your realm of your work hours. I always use this example. The former CEO of Pepsi Cola, when she was retiring, she reminded everyone, or was not retiring, she was at a function. She said, "You all work for 8 hours per day. I expect you to produce 8 productive hours." And we all know what unproductive can be. But she's saying we want you to produce 8 productive hours. And after your 8 hours, you go home to your families, you go home to your personal life. That's where a good work life balance exists. So I'm saying it may not only be through owning your own business that you have a work life balance. Work life balance should also exist whilst you are employed as well. And it's something that you don't want to be expending yourself at your job at the risk of destroying your personal life. All right? If you don't take care of this, if you don't take care of your own your body, your mind, you will not be able to sustain in the long run. So that work-life balance is very, very important. Well, we know right now we have coronavirus, COVID-19, so people can do things that they traditionally do to relax, but people are finding creative ways in which they can find some relaxation. So again, appealing to have that work-life balance. So on to slide 6, and we're looking at entrepreneurship and the environment. And you would hear this all the time in all of your management teachings about the environmental analysis. We did it yesterday in class called the PEST analysis. Turbulence in the technology sector has heightened concerns about small business companies competing against big companies. Now, this is a guys, this is a reality, and the course is community pharmacy management, and you can immediately, I'm sure you all can immediately think of um, your community pharmacy in some communities that you've been accustomed to for many years, your family has been accustomed to for many years. And then there is the introduction of several big box um, multi chain stores that open up in your community or close in your community. And what does this do? What do these large stores do to your small community based pharmacy? It affects it. If you think it's not going to affect it, you're wrong. It does affect it. Sometimes there is a saying that business brings business, and that's true. Which is why you know you would have um, a collection of like businesses in an area would now create a buzz of activity for that type of business in that area. And I want you to think of food courts in malls. I want you to think of down Davy by the doubles people. All these um, Indian delicacy places now has now created a location, a buzz location for that type of activity. But the reality is that when these large organizations come into your community, they are going to take piece of your market share. They are going to, at least certainly initially, because it's human nature, it's human behavior to want to try out something that's new in the community. And the reality is that some of these people who go and try out this new service that is being offered may like it and may switch to this new service. So um, the environment is important. The environment is important when looking at your entrepreneurship endeavor. Um, Small business is very important in all economies. And you well, this slide use the U.S. economy, but all over the world, small businesses are very, very important um, because small businesses can scale a lot easier when difficult times happen. So why small business today? Because of economic changes. Well, why small business today and why small business forever? Small business will always have a role in a country's economy because it's a very important. And we use the word small business, but there's also terms like micro enterprise and medium sized enterprise. And these companies always have a role to play in a microeconomy and a macroeconomy. They always hire local talent. They always they're institutions of the communities that they serve. So they're very important. Because of economic changes, we have small business. Because of globalization, there is small business. Increased competition, there's need for small business. And when we say increased competition, just think of you might want to imagine. Let's just say there in your community there's a big box pharmacy, or there's a large chain pharmacy that has a certain amount of hours operating. So they may have great hours. They may have the best hours in the community. Um, but they may have so many good things about it that they can serve the community with. But there will be a few things that they are not able to do that your small business might be able to do. And that's why small business will always have a role. All right. Advancing technology and new market niches, or some people say niches. So, small business, definition, uh, is independently owned and operated. A small business is not dominant in its field of operation, and there are always constant redefining of the term. On slide 10, you're going to see definitions of small business with respect to number of employees, the size and the value of their assets, and the type of revenue that they generate. And so a micro enterprise is 1 to 5 employees, small 6 to 25, medium 26 to 50, and a large enterprise is more than 50%. Assets owned by micro enterprise is less than 250,000. Small enterprise should have assets that are between 250 and 1.5 million, and you can see the others from the slide. And then you look at the sales, the revenue. Small enterprise has a revenue that's between 250, 250,000 to 5 million, and that's generally correct correct representation of small business in Trinidad and Tobago. So some examples of small business definition in terms of firms. Now, in manufacturing, I'm seeing here the slide has soft drink manufacturing number of employees does not exceed 500. Right? But we will stick with slide number 10. This is a much better representation and depiction of comparisons of small, micro, medium, and large enterprises. So we'll move past slide 11 and we're on to slide 12. Um, Entrepreneurial small businesses, they generate just over 50% of the GDP. And this is the information from the US. 97% of all US exports and employ over 50% of the private sector. All right, so let's go on to slide number 13. Who are entrepreneurs? I really wish that we had our live chat operating right now so I can get some feedback from some of you of what you think makes an entrepreneur. So they come first of all, they come from a diversity. They come from different backgrounds. I know some of you might think you might look at your local micro enterprise entrepreneur. You look at the food cart vendors, the gyro guys, Arabian. There is now a proliferation of um, South Asian uh, entrepreneurs. You now also see a few of your Latin American entrepreneurs. But the reality is that entrepreneurship does not is not limited to uh, a particular group of persons. You might sometimes see children who are the firstborn children of immigrants are entrepreneurs, and you can understand why, because Imagine for a moment that you have a migrant, an immigrant family that has moved into a country, and the eldest child is there witnessing the difficulties that their parents are going through, and what their younger ones have to endure to just keep afloat, keep alive. Those things provide a fertile ground, and I want to repeat this. Adversity provides a fertile ground for innovation and for entrepreneurial activity. It definitely does, right? Difficult times inspire you to become or put yourself in a better position. Difficult times push you and motivate you, especially when mentor mentor persons who are in a better position than you in life, and you use that as inspiration to find to reach in that position one day. That's where the inspiration comes in. But it's not only limited to firstborn immigrants, children of immigrants. It's not limited to a particular gender. It's not limited to a particular race. And it's also not limited to a particular socioeconomic status or class. All right? So I want take home point to be entrepreneurs can be anyone. And I wanted to use the example that we spoke of yesterday of Mr. Elon Musk. Those of you who don't know him, know of him, you can do your search and get to read up some um, bio, some biography of his life. Elon Musk was born into money. He inherited um, a significant amount of money from his parents. And what did he do with that money? He used that money as a platform to engage in further entrepreneurial activity, and now going into out of space. So the point is, entrepreneurial activity does not only come from a life of struggle to a life of comfort. It can start from a life of comfort and move on to another, a more advanced quality um, of life, right? So entrepreneurs come from a diverse amount of backgrounds. So some characteristics of entrepreneurs. When we speak of entrepreneurs usually have certain characteristics, and you would see on slide number 14, they have a strong internal locus of control. An internal locus of control means you take the position that you control your destiny. You take full responsibility for what happens with you. And from a personal perspective as well, this is something that I would encourage, that you start taking control of your life. You start taking control of what happens to you. You start taking responsibility for what happens to you. As compared to someone having an external locus of control where they think that everything from the environment is a reason for who they are, why they are, and where they are. Entrepreneurs don't think like that. They have an internal locus of control. They think that they can control or they have a significant amount of control as to where they are and where they're going to be. Next, we have the tolerance for ambiguity. What does ambiguity mean? Ambiguity means you're not sure. Things are always in flux. So entrepreneurs are always understanding that things may not work out the way that they plan it to work out. Things may not pan out the way it's analyzed, and they are tolerant towards that. They don't get frustrated and be like, "Oh, it's not working out. I give up." Entrepreneurs don't operate like that. They understand that you may make an attempt at something, you may have an idea of something, you may uh, you may analyze a particular group in a particular way, and it may not turn out to be so. So they have a high tolerance for ambiguity. Next, entrepreneurs have a high energy level. Now, I'm saying this, and I want you all to appreciate that the introverts amongst us, yes, you might be an introvert, and yes, you might be a shy person, as we said yesterday, but your demonstration of energy levels may not simply be by the amount of noise that you make. Your energy level can be transmitted in another way. For example, you might be you might have that energy to sit behind your laptop and analyze data and do research and go out there and chat with your staff. You may not be a cheerful. I want to use the word cheerful. You may not be someone who is um, a likable character, for want of a better word. Um, but you need to have high energy because you need to be motivated. You need to be engaged. You need to be active in your entrepreneurial activity, whether it be analyzing, whether it be applying something, a new strategy. You need to have that high energy. And I'm saying that not because you're an introvert, not because you're a shy person, means that you cannot be an entrepreneur. You can. You can. All right. Awareness of passing time. Yes, entrepreneurs are aware that as time goes by, they will be looking at their entrepreneurial endeavor and looking and see if it's growing, looking and seeing at the results, looking and seeing if there are changes as time is moving on, if as we say, if the times have changed, if things are changing around them, if they need to adjust their strategy. Entrepreneurs also have a high need to achieve. Entrepreneurs have a high need to achieve. They always want to. They have set personal goals. They have set organizations goals. They have set financial goals. They have a high need to achieve. And finally, they have a high degree of self confidence. Again, I'm saying this. I don't want to exclude your our shy guys, our shy girls, our introverts, our persons who are quiet. Not because you're any of those mean that you don't have confidence in yourself. You can have very much confidence in yourself. And you need that confidence in yourself and that confidence in your ability to persevere and to push through your entrepreneurial activity. Right? I'm saying this because we're not asking you to be a bully, to be a confident bully with your entrepreneurial activity. But you need to be confident about what your product is about, what your service is about, what your business idea is about. That's the confidence, right? Because you would have done your research, you would have analyzed, and you would have seen that there is this need, and you are now going to try and fill that need. Okay, so self confidence. All of those six things that we just spoke about, they all make up the entrepreneurial personality. And I'm stressing again that these things can be applied to all personality types. These are characteristics of an entrepreneur because I can think of several examples of persons who may not fit the traditional description of an entrepreneur, but they are indeed a successful entrepreneur because they have the grit, they have the versatility, they have the perseverance, and they have all of these things and all of these characteristics here that make up what an entrepreneur is like: self-confidence, awareness of passing time, tolerance for ambiguity, high energy levels, internal locus of control, and the need to achieve. All right. And slide number 15, sorry, just explains the internal and external locus of control further. And before we go for a break, I want you to take a look at slide number 16 and see the hours worked per week by owners of a new business. And you would see, we all know that our traditional work week is a 40-hour work week. But look at what most of your entrepreneurs do. They work hours of 70 hours a week. They work 60 hours a week. They work. They have a few of them that work 80 hours a week. Some of them work more than 80 hours a week. A week. And this tells you that when you're an entrepreneur of a new business, you have to put in the time. You have to put in the effort because you are essentially creating something that is new. And when you are creating something that is new, for those of you who have babies, you would know that a brand new baby requires a whole lot of time and attention. And I want you to imagine, if it is you don't have, imagine your business as a baby. That baby will require that baby will require all the time and attention to get it developed, for it to grow, for it to function. So your business is going to require lots of time from you. I don't want you to think at all that you are going to start off your entrepreneurial activity, but you're going to leave persons to do things and you are going to be focused elsewhere on other things. It can't operate like that. Even if you have a full-time job or a part-time job and you are engaging in an entrepreneurial activity, you will be required to put in all the hours necessary in that entrepreneurial activity whilst still having your other job. So, by no way, no how, until you reach at a certain stage, can you not put in the time and the work necessary for that entrepreneurial activity. All right? So, we'll go for a break now. I don't want to run you all over like I did yesterday. So we'll go for a break now. We have just about the same amount of slides to complete in the next session. So we'll go for a break now, and I'll invite. Oh well, I can't invite any questions. Boo hoo! I wish I could have got have my chat out here. Hmm. About chat. Could this be it? Oh, there it is. There. Oh my. Oh God, here it is. Okay. Hi guys and gals. Or should I say gals and guys? Be politically correct. Any questions? So I'm seeing a new name here, Alice Narayan. Okay. Geeta Ramki soon. I remember you from summer. Hi Geeta. And Shakira, I remember you from yesterday. And Alexis, I remember you guys from yesterday. Now let me see if I can get this chat to be. Well, I'll have to drag it to the side. Any questions, guys? All right, so we'll take a break. I'm going to return at 9 a.m. We'll return at 9:05. All right, so, okay. All right, I'll see you on the other side of 9 o'clock.